Italy. A country which is world renowned for its culture, food, fashion, and one of its most passionate loves, football. Italy is also home to some of the most prestigious landmarks in the world. Italy, unlike many others, is a country with a long and a very memorable history. After being unified in 1846 by leader Garibaldi, Italy had one of the fastest growing economies in Europe, and by 1901 was a European powerhouse. As a result of this recent success, Italy also had many possessions in Africa, with countries such as Libya and later on down the line Ethiopia coming under Italian leadership. When the war began in 1914, Italy was thrown into the deep end, as they were a young nation in the centre of a large-scale war, and after only just coming out of a huge civil war themselves, Italy opted to remain neutral at the beginning of proceedings. But after 1 year of fighting, they were swayed by the Allies to fight on their side. As a result of fighting, Italy lost over 600,000 men in the war. This was their highest amount of dead soldiers or personnel in one war of all time. At the conclusion of World War I, it was decided by Italian leaders that Italy needed a new direction in order to ensure a prosperous future for the nation. And on the 24th of December 1925, Benito Mussolini was elected head of government. Benito Mussolini came into Italian leadership at a time of great need for the nation, as it was a time, the early 1930s and late 1920s, which was renowned around the world as the Great Depression. By 1930, 5 years into his leadership, Italy's economy was stabilizing, with dictator Benito Mussolini in charge. Although the Great Depression was felt around the world and in Italy, their economy was growing, and industrial growth from 1913 to 1938 was third highest in the world, behind only the UK and Scandinavia. Fascism was also now part of Italian society, as their dictator Benito Mussolini was also known as the father of fascism, as he came up with the concept, employed it as Italy's type of government. Mussolini was, like Hitler, his close friend, glorified in all schools and taught all children the fascist way. Songs were sung about him, and black shirts were a compulsory school uniform, as the symbol of a black shirt represented Italy's fascist regime. The fascist salute was also created at this time, as it was a showing of respect between military leaders and any Italian citizens. In October 1932, the decision on who was hosting the 1934 World Cup was about to be decided. When the only other bidder, Sweden, decided to pull out of proceedings, it was left to Italy as the only other sole bidder to become the host of the 1934 World Cup on the 9th of October 1932. The tournament was to be held in 8 different cities. These were Naples, Rome, Genoa, Turin, Milan, Bologna, Florence, and Trieste. The tournament began on the 27th of May 1934, as all matches were played at the same time. The tournament, unlike other World Cups, was a straight knockout system, which was unfortunate for non-European teams like Argentina and Brazil, who had travelled a huge distance to get to the World Cup finals, only to lose in the first round after one game. After the first round of matches, all non-European teams had been knocked out of the tournament, as Brazil, Argentina and Egypt all lost their first round matches. Host Italy also knocked out the only other non-European team in the USA with a convincing 7-1 victory. This was courtesy from a hat-trick from striker Angelo Schiavo and a double from Argentinian-born Raimundo Orsi. The quarterfinals followed, with the final 8 teams fighting it out for a spot in the semi-finals. The quarterfinals of the 1934 World Cup were all tight affairs, with all games being decided by only a single goal. It started off with Austria defeating Hungary by 1 goal, as Austria defeated them 2-1. The quarters also saw the first play, as host Italy drew 1-1 with Spain after extra time. The replay saw a goal from Giuseppe Meazza in the 11th minute, and it was enough to get the host country into the semi-finals. Germany also defeated Sweden with 2 goals from striker Karl Hohmann, while Switzerland went down to Czechoslovakia 3-2 in what was a tightly contested affair, with the winning goal scored by World Cup's top scorer Oldrich Nejedi with only 8 minutes to play. The semi-finals of the 1934 World Cup were all held on the 3rd of June, as the last 4 teams, Italy, Austria, Czechoslovakia and Germany, all battled it out for a place in the world's biggest sporting event, the World Cup final. Both matches were played as hosts Italy took to an aggressive Austria. Italian dictator Benito Mussolini was present at the San Siro in Milan, as his fellow countrymen ran out 1-0 winners after a 19th minute strike from Enrique Guaita in front of 60,000 people. The Czechoslovakia also ran out victors, as they came away 3-1 winners against Germany. This was highlighted by another brilliant performance from striker Oldrich Nejedi, as he scored a hat-trick to ensure their passage into the World Cup final. The third place playoff was a tightly contested and arguably one of the greatest games of the tournament, after Germany downed Austria 3-2 in front of 8,000 people in Stadio Jordi Ascardelli in Naples. A double from striker Ernest Lerner ensured Germany would come out victors and gain the bronze medal for a very good display at the finals. The World Cup final was a fitting end to what was an exciting tournament, as host Italy came out 2-1 victors. The game itself was an exciting affair, as the Czechs led 1-0 with only 10 minutes to play after striker Antonin Puk gave them the lead in the 76th minute. Italy pulled one back though, through Argentinian-born striker Raimundo Orsi. The game went into extra time, which was the scene for striker Angelo Schiavo to become a national hero, scoring the winning goal in the 95th minute. The victory is seen by the Italian public as a sign that even though they had lost so many men in World War I, there was still a sense of hope around the country, and with the great economic depression behind them, this was a huge boost to the country's economy. Dictator Benito Mussolini historically marked the 10th of June, the date of the World Cup final, as a proud moment in Italian sporting and national history. Football in these times was like a religion for many, and the victory was celebrated on a national scale for years and years to come. Well, that's it from me, Brandon Galgano. I hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye for now.